So you talked a couple times about home inspection. Explain a little bit. Home inspection and appraisal, are they the same thing, different things?
Home inspection and appraisal are two different things. The home inspection, the home inspector is going to come in. They are going to check everything on that house from top to bottom. They're going to look at the roof. They're going to look at the electrical. They're going to look at the plumbing. They're going to open the doors, the windows, the cabinet doors. They're going to see if there's any leaks underneath the cabinet. So if you know if there has been any type of water damage, what type of water damage. And then the appraiser, he's going to come in and he's going to look at the overall picture. And normally if there's something to do with the roof, sometimes he calls it out, but the appraiser will also look if there's any termite damage, as what happened on our last one. We had to have the clearance for termite before the loan would go through.
Interesting. Okay, so you got two completely different issues there. Now, do you always want a home inspection, or is that something, because obviously nowadays in California, the seller and the seller's agent are both giving you disclosures as to what's good and bad about the property.
You always want a home inspection. Unfortunately, not everybody's honest about everything.
Really? Wait a second. I think I got a friend of mine right here that we can surprise. There we go. They're not all honest.
They're not always. And sometimes maybe, the seller doesn't know that there's been a leak underneath the house. I was at a home inspection. The seller did not know. When the home inspector went underneath the house, it was completely saturated from a leak that had been underneath that house, slow dripping for years. So if it has a raised foundation, they may not know that. So always
now you're even looking at mold then too, probably.
Absolutely. You have to look at mold. Then there's different types of mold. So when somebody says mold, please don't lose your hat, because mold doesn't always mean it's a bad mold, but it could be something bad and it could not be. So always get a home inspection.
So if you're doing a home inspection, do you give the home inspector the disclosures, the seller's disclosures, or do they even care? They're just going to do all their own stuff and not care about it?
They really don't care, because if you get a good home inspector, they're going to go in and they're going to check everything from top to bottom. And at that point, you want that home inspection. You want to go through it with your agent. And if you have any questions, call the home inspector on it. If the home inspector misses something that you felt like they should have put on there, call that home inspector and have him come back and address the problem.
Do I need to be there when the home inspector's there?
Absolutely. Always be there. And if you can't be, make sure your agent is. Agents need to be at all home inspections. It's their job, it's their duty, and it's them doing what's ethically right for their clients.
Now, you made a comment before about a good home inspector. So I buy a house once every 7 to 10 years. How would I know who's a good home inspector and who's not a good home inspector?
Well, number one, if you start asking other agents who is a good home inspector, and if your agent has used this home inspector for several years, they've used him because of their reputation. If an inspector is coming in and just doing a surface inspection, that's not a good inspection. And to be honest, I've done home inspections with someone in the past, so I've been a part of that. And I can tell you if they're a good home inspector or not, but not all agents know that. Some newer agents don't know it. But if you're a new agent, then go ask a seasoned agent, who's your home inspector? Because I promise you, if they've used that home inspector for many years, they're a good home inspector.
How long should I budget for the home inspection to take?
Minimally, at least for a small condo, they can do it within an hour and a half. And when I say small, I'm talking about maybe like a 2-bedroom, something like that. Anything over 1,500 square feet, you need at least 2 hours to 2.5 hours. Some home inspectors are longer, but a couple hours at the minimum, I think.